Alright, so there's a little drama that's been going on when it comes down to Pragmata. Not gonna sit here and lie, since it finally decides to show its head over a long period of time. About dang time we got to see this damn game again, because it's been a long behind while. Not gonna lie, just kind of happy that it's here in some shape and form. And yeah, not necessarily all that bad, but also at the very same time too, it's causing a bit of controversy. Not as much controversy as the Xbox showcase, because the Xbox showcase was a bit ass. Not gonna lie, the only game you had there that was pretty surprising was Invincible getting a fighting game. I don't know shit about Invincible, but that looks kind of cool as hell. And then also Persona 4, my boy. So yes, that is how it felt for me when it comes down to that damn showcase. But regardless of all of it though, there is one piece of drama that has been out there that people have been, yapping about, seeing if this is something that people should jerk it to or people should not jerk it to. And that is the simple fact of, do we bust a nut on this damn character's face? Yes or no? And that's essentially what's been going on, right? So obviously Pragmata has this very much cute android looking character, I guess, that's going to be journeying with you throughout the entire game. Now obviously, because this is very much in a territory that's, similar, I suppose, to a lot of other things that we talked about on this channel, it obviously caused up a lot of storm and nonsense, because people are like, if you are attracted to something like this, then obviously you have mad issues, and because it's realistic, it's even more worse than anything at all, right? And we had talked about this very same subject on this channel before with 3D CG models, right? With computer generated models of any kind. And when it comes down to it, there's levels to this shit that I do feel like needs to be discussed, that we have discussed on the channel. But just to get kind of, I guess, bring back that old conversation, you have obviously 3D lollies that is going to exist, right? You got the ones that look very anime like Genshin and whatever, and you're gonna have ones that just look a bit stylized in some other shape and form, and ultimately you're just gonna have those in that space. And not every single 3D lolly is and should be treated basically the same, because that's just not how that works, right? But when you start getting into the realistic territory, that's when things get weird. That's when things start to get classified, as lolly for a lot of people, where it's like, in my personal opinion, I don't really even consider that to be lolly, because one, lolly is first and foremost part of anime. It has to have the anime aesthetic, in my personal opinion, to kind of classify as lolly. If it's anything really, it's something else than that. So that's number one for me. And then number two, people have been saying like, oh, it's perfectly fine if you want to do it with this, it's also not fine, and a lot of all that stuff. But as someone that has, again, who talked about this subject, what is my verdict on it? And well, I'm not gonna lie, it's a it depends situation, right? Because I feel like with the history of these type of models being used over and over again, whether it's through safer work means or not safer work means, there is an audience for both sides, right? And ultimately, there is going to be people that is going to just jerk it to it and it's whatever, and people that's not going to, right? But my whole thing is whether or not it is an actor behind that character. Because if there is an actor behind that character and it's confirmed to be done so, then yeah, we look at everybody with the bombastic side eye. Yeah, we basically see and just be like, yeah, this is not it. This is completely not what we're here for, right? Because there's been an incident like this before that has happened, and I'll say it again, with Alice from Detroit Become Human. Because when that character dropped, people didn't know at the time that, there was an actual, person that was identical to her from that game to, act out the character. And people were just basically just making all types of content. But in the moment when that character, actor came out and they show behind the scenes of what the game was like, and it was 1-to-1, that's when basically less art came out and more people just ultimately stopped making content of those models of Alice. You still get people that will do it sometime here and here, but not nearly as much because of what we know now. And that's obviously one of the things I would say that is like a huge, yeah, let's not sort of do this sort of thing, because it's very weird, much less it can go into a territory that you don't want it to, right? So that's easily one of those situations where it's like, yeah, I'm not really for that. It's kind of what it kind of is what it is. It's kind of whatever when it comes down to it. But then you get a situation where you get, someone like Marlene from Final Fantasy VII, which there is content on her too. And because she's not really, at least as far as we know, a character that is used with the same sort of instance of an actor like Alice is, she's kind of fair game for a lot of people, right? You can still very much look at it in a sort of situation where it's like, oh, this is not it. This is not my cup of tea. This is kind of trash. Bombastic side eye yet again because it's realistic, and very much so. You can throw that in there, and I can agree to that because I ain't gonna lie, realism, not the first thing I would choose. But at the very same time, though, because it doesn't have an actor behind it, and it's still a fictional character, even to that extent, they're gonna be an excuse for people to be like, you know what, it's fine, it is what it is, and if that's what you're gonna do, that's what you're gonna do, right? So ultimately, it's still a fictional character, right? At the end of the day, it's still a computer generated model of said character, and even better, it's not necessarily somebody behind that character as like an actor and whatever. So it's a bit more on the technical side, like, yeah, you can, but you're still gonna get that bombastic side eye looking mad at you, and that's just ultimately how it is, right? And there's tons of games with like character models like that, right? And just how they're kind of used in sort of ways, because again, there is always going to be an audience for realistic models, it's just ultimately whether or not you kind of just accept that and you just don't mind it or whatever, and that's just kind of how it is for you. And there is definitely also the complaint that people could very much look at something like that and then basically go out their way to find something that is of the real thing. And if you do that, and I said this before, and I'll continue to say it, Lolicon, if you just want to get into that sort of thing, you have to have a strong ass mindset and a strong ass sense of how your head is. Because if you're not, and you go into that and you just start to get mad at lolly like content and anime or whatever because you went down somewhere you shouldn't have, then that's more on you than it is on the subject of it. And if anything, clean up your ass in your whole ass act and all that sort of stuff, and you need to throw yourself in a slammer for a few weeks, and that's just how it is, right? Because ultimately that's not what the intention of what it is. And like I said before, lolly is mainly and solely anime first, right? Like, we out here I would more enjoy characters like Akana or Akonako and do wild stuff to those characters way faster than I would very much like to see something of, like a Marlene or an Ellie from The Last of Us or something like that too, right? It just isn't something that I would be personally there for, right? But it does have its audience, and people would like to see content of the sort, right? There is new mods of people like, that Cherry chick from Resident Evil 2, right? There's like a whole new mod that I don't remember if it's still on YouTube or not, but I did see it once on YouTube, and it was like, whoa, that's kind of wild. That's a bit crazy, right? Marlene, same way. There is some nude mod probably out there of her somewhere. Hell, people was able to rip off the clothes off the damn model and make it something. So I wouldn't be surprised if something is very much out there. It would not come to a surprise to me, because again, like I said, there's just going to be people that's just going to enjoy some stuff like that, and that is just GG's and how it is. Whether it's right or wrong, I'll pretty much just leave that into your hands. But for me personally, would you go ahead and say that it's fine to go ahead and clap the chick from Pragmata? Because why not? It depends. Again, it depends on just if the actor is there. Again, it's not necessarily the cup of tea I would jump into that fast. But if it's not necessarily having any actor behind it, and if that's just how it is, and if you don't mind and you just want to come on her face, then go right ahead, I suppose, right? But just also be on the very much same side of awareness too, that this is very much that gray area, even legally. So if you were to get caught with that, you could still very much be tossed into a slammer, because obviously it gotta be like, it's kind of close, right? And I believe the law is like, if it basically looked like it at a glance and you can't tell the difference at a glance and whatever, even if it is 3D generated, at the end of the day, it's still gonna cost you some life points. So very much, again, it is what it is. It's just up to the person at this point. That's really the best all I can give you. That being said too, like it doesn't really matter again, because people are still going to, you know, go ahead and just, when the game comes out and it's on PC, they're gonna rip the model off and then they're gonna use it for wild and means and all that sort of stuff, and the content will most likely look hot. Like it most likely will. That's the point of content like that. It's supposed to get you riled up in that sort of way, but ultimately, again, it just depends on what you are accepting. What is it that you don't accept? I've seen 3D artists kind of go ham in this era, and they do very good work. Is it something, again, that, you know, I would very much be down for the 100% of the time? No, not really, because still the anime aesthetic is king. But, you know, that is just, again, up to your choice. But I suppose that's really all I want to say, because, again, a lot of people have been talking about that sort of subject when it comes down to Pragmata, and do we loot the lolly? Do we not loot it? Is it considered lolly? Is it not? It's just a lot. It's just a lot every time when these sort of characters kind of pop up and kind of get the attention of certain individuals and whatever. Because it's just like, is it this deep? Is it actually this serious? Or is it just a video game character? Who cares? We eat her ass in this whatever. Because that's kind of what a lot of other people also feel too. But yeah, I guess that's really all I want to say for this one. So hopefully you did enjoy. If you did, be sure to like, share, subscribe, hit the bell notification on anywhere else. Also follow my socials, and if you like to donate to the channel, Kofi and Cash App is available as well. And until then, it's been Boy J, signing off. Have a blessed day.